So tonight was such a magical night. It was so beautiful. And it made it even more special because it's Christmas Eve and I was spending the night with my brother and sister-in-law. And because I was spending the night with them, I originally wasn't planning on making a video, but it was just so beautiful and I just kind of started taking pictures and videos, and I just kind of started taking more and more, and then I decided I wanted to share it with you guys. So I am making this video. And don't mind if I look super tired right now. It is like almost 1 a.m. I just got back. I didn't take a whole lot of videos because, like I said, I was spending the night with them and they just arrived today. So by the time we met up, it was pretty late and we only had like 2.5 hours there or something. So if any of you guys ever decide on visiting, please make sure you have lots of time there because you're going to want to see everything. You're going to want to go slowly. And we saw pretty much everything, but we did kind of rush through some parts here and there. But we saw the main, like, really cool parts. And there is this one area that is just so fun. And I wish we found it sooner, but we didn't find it till the end when we were about to leave. But there was a lot to do there, and we did some of it. But while we were exploring the area, they did end up closing, so we had to leave. So sadly, we didn't get to see everything there. And there was this one other part where I really wanted to try, but like I said, we ran out of time, so sadly, we couldn't do it. But since I wasn't originally planning to film, I didn't do any like talking or anything while I was there. So I'm gonna kind of share with you guys the different areas and what it was like and stuff. And as I talk about it, I'll add clips of it. But let's go ahead and get into it. And I'm actually surprised with how big the place was. It was like such a maze that like you're going in circles and you're going like this way and that way, and it's pretty easy to get lost there. But as you kind of like see the same areas over and over again, you kind of get used to it and you kind of know your way around. But because it's all like digital art, it's dark in there because everything's all like video projectors, I think. But the walls were all covered in like beautiful pictures, and like they had like motion stuff and like all these kind of different like animals and this and that. The first place we went to was like a net area, and it sounded really interesting. The net itself was fun, but the video kind of wasn't worth it. But the cool part is it is like a net suspended in air, and I think it's a few feet off the ground. It's pretty cool, but it's super dark when you walk in. Like, it's pretty scary because you can't really see where you're walking, but it is cool because you're just walking on a net that's like floating above the ground. So that was fun until the video started. Like, you lay down or you can sit, but you lay down and you just kind of like watch the ceiling. But it was really lame. Like, to be honest, it kind of looked like sperm floating around, but I think they're meant to be stars. I have no idea, but they literally look like sperm. Like, that's all I could think of while I was looking at it. But it was just like a short, like couple minute video of whatever that thing was, like wiggling around the walls, and maybe a few like flower designs here and there, and that was it. So it really wasn't worth the wait. Like, if you have a lot of time there, it wouldn't hurt to actually stand in line and wait. But that was the first area we went to. And the second area we went to was kind of like a waterfall, which was really cool. It was really beautiful. And like there was even like this rock area that you can kind of like climb up, and everyone was like taking pictures at the top. I took a picture at the top as well. But it's just like a projection waterfall with all like squiggly lines and like this and that. It was really beautiful. Then after walking through there, we found this one area that had like lily pad-ish looking flowers, and like the projectors had flowers on that, and that was really beautiful as well. We spent some time in there, kind of walked through it, and like you can kind of like circle around and do stuff. Then we went to this one room that was just like waves and stuff. It was really cool, almost like you were in the ocean and it's like a storm going on around you. But we just kind of went in and out of there, and then we went upstairs, which was a really cool room. Like, it was like one of the best ones there, and it's definitely a must see. As far as fun wise, that one I'll get to last was like the most fun. But as far as beautiful, this was just so beautiful, and it's like little like lamps hanging from the ceiling or something. And they tell you not to touch it, but it's so tempting to touch. Like, I really wanted to touch it. Like, I was just so close to wanting to touch it. And they changed colors, and depending on when you get to go in. Like, I've seen orange and I've seen blue and I've also seen a rainbow-ish kind of one. So it does change colors over time, and if you're lucky it'll change colors while you're there. And more than actually like the ones hanging from the ceilings, the mirrors on the ground actually look the best. Like, it made it look that much more better, and it reflects everything, so like it kind of feels like you're literally in space or something, even though it's not really meant to be space. But it was so cool. And then after that we went to this room that had like a whole lot of like panels, and like I did take a video of it, but I don't think it showed it as cool as the room actually was, because it was a pretty big room and you can like walk through all these like panels, and on the panels there's like projections of like people, and like some are animals. I think they're like characters and stuff like that, and they're each doing something. Like, some were playing music, some were just like doing whatever, some were dancing. And what's cool about it is if you stand in front of it, they just stop and they kind of like look at you, and like they just really stop doing what they're doing. I think one of them even bowed or something. But that one was a kind of interactive one where if you stand in front of it, it reacts to you. And because it wasn't showing up on camera too well, I didn't take a whole lot of videos there, but it was cool. And it was just like rows and rows and rows, and I think that was one of the biggest rooms there. But I wish you could have been a little more interactive. Like, if you wave your hand or something, it kind of like follows you and stuff. That would have been cool. But it just kind of stopped. And then after that, we went into this other like display area. It wasn't a room, it was more like a display, where it looked super 3D, and like it came out so much better on camera than it did in person. Like, in person, it just looks like a projection and it looks a little 3D, but I feel like as I was filming, the video itself kind of looked a little more 3D than it did like with my own eyes. So I was taking as much videos as I could of that area, and there was like different things going on, and supposedly if you stand in the middle, it'll like sense you there and it'll like change its scenery. And then there was a crystal room or something like that, which was really cool. It had a bunch of like LED lights that were just coming straight down like this, and there was a bunch. So sometimes it looked like rain, sometimes it looked like other things, and it was doing like all these different like displays, and like the colors were changing, and it really just felt like you were in the middle of like a forest. It felt like a forest to me, but it kind of also felt like you were in the middle of the sky. And again, it was like a maze. You could go like this way, you could go that way. And there was this one area where you could kind of control the lights. We tried it, but it kind of wasn't working. It worked sometimes, but not always. But that was cool too. You could kind of like choose which element and like, I guess, light display that goes on. And finally, we found in the end the funnest part ever. Like, we didn't get to try everything, but we did as much as we could there. As soon as you walk in, there's like a trampoline area, which was really cool. I wanted to try that, but we didn't have time. And the floor itself is like uneven, or I guess you could say uneven, but there was like a ditch in the middle, and it kind of like went up and down, and there was like whales swimming around, and like lizards and snakes and stuff slithering around. And what was cool about that one is if you step on one of those like snakes or lizards, it kind of like smushes them, and it just like splats a bunch of paint. They get up and like run away again, but yeah, when you step on them, it actually like splatters paint everywhere, and then I think the paint like turned to flowers or something. It was pretty cool. Like, I tried my best to get a video of that, but for some reason most of them weren't really working when I was filming. I kind of got a bit of it, but then we were moving on after that, so I didn't really get to show too much of that. But that was really cool. I was having fun trying to chase the lizards and the snakes, which they weren't moving fast, but there were a whole bunch of them. So when one didn't work, I tried like rushing to the next one. And then there was like this coloring room, which was really cool as well. Like, they have different pictures you can color, and you can design and color whatever you want. My sister-in-law did color one, and they scan it, and it ends up on the wall, which was super cool. They scan it and it gets put up on the wall, and it like travels. If you do the car, it ends up on the road. If you do a house, it'll be somewhere alongside of the road. And like, if you do the Santa one, the Santa would be like floating around and stuff. And then if you tap the Santa, he'll either dance or he'll give you presents, which I was tapping like almost every single one of them, and none of them were giving me presents for some reason until the final one right before we left when I wasn't even filming. But I have some clips of when my brother and sister were tapping it and they got presents. So I have some of that for you guys too. Then after that, we went to this one, you get to like climb through the forest, which was really cool. And of course, because we're climbing, I couldn't film, but it's kind of like rock climbing, but it's like sticks that are going up, and there's like these bulbs that like stick out, and there's like rubber on it, and you can put your feet, and like the challenge of it is you pick a color and you're supposed to stick to that one color as you go through, but really it doesn't matter if you go with any color. But I was having fun with that. I was climbing to like the very top as far as I could go, and like I wasn't even like grabbing onto those little things that much. Like half the time I was just like wrapping my arm around the poles or like leaning on it, or I was using the poles to like grab myself and like pull myself to the next one. And when I could, I was using those bulbs. But like my feet, I had on the bulbs, and my hands, I just used whatever was more convenient because our goal was just to get to the end anyway. So you're supposed to get to the end, touch the mirror as like your finish line, and then you leave. But I have just a really short clip of that because, like I said, we were kind of trying to rush through the place because they were about to close, and I couldn't film while actually doing it. And then that's when time ran out and we had to leave. So that was my adventure of this place. To be honest, I didn't even know it existed because I haven't really been going to Tokyo too much recently, and I haven't really been keeping up to date with like what's been going on in Tokyo. But I'm really glad that they took me along to there when they got here, and even though we didn't have a lot of time there, it was still really cool and really fun. So I'm glad I did take videos, and I'm glad I do get to share it with you guys. And because when I post this, it's gonna be Christmas Day, at least in Japan. Merry Christmas to you guys all. Happy holidays. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. It was really fun and I had a really awesome time. But that's all I have for you guys. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.